I'm Megan Gleason, an assistant business editor here at the Journal. Welcome to another podcast episode of our Business Outlook series. Today with me is Craig Kief, who's the Director of Innovation at COSMIAC, which is a research center branched out of the University of New Mexico School of Engineering. Its focus is aerospace, and we have a conversation about the need to attract more talent to this industry, and we talk about some of the cool tech going on at COSMIAC. I hope you enjoy this conversation.
If you enjoy our podcast, please like and subscribe and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us bring you more content like this. You can find this episode and all of our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. See the show notes for a discount code on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading news.
Craig, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to have you on to talk about UNM's COSMIAC, which is a facility that is part of UNM, right, but a little bit separate?
Absolutely. We're actually a research center at the School of Engineering at the University of New Mexico, but we're off campus by design. When we first started, we realized it was incredibly hard to park on campus, much less get customers in there.
Still is hard to park.
Oh, it's horrible. And so it just made more sense to go ahead and find an off-site location. And now we're down there near Gibson and Yale and have 30,000 square feet of space. So it's allowed us to stretch. So.
Yeah. And what spurred this is I came by and visited a month or so ago, and I'd never been to this facility. It's huge. It's right by the Sunport and kind of by the Sandia Science and Tech Park, and there's so much in it.
It is. We have two separate buildings. One is office space, light labs, clean rooms, things that don't make noise or stink. And then we've got the warehouse, which is another 15,000 square feet of high bay space where we do light manufacturing, so milling, machining, anything that's loud, giant robotic arms, all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and it's a couple dozen folks working at the center, right?
Actually, we're close to 85 people.
Oh, much more than that.
Yeah. So it's probably, I'm going to say 60 students and 25 faculty, staff, and consultants to the university.
And the work is mainly in aerospace?
Almost predominantly space-based activities. So I would say the main funder is the Air Force Research Lab. Within Albuquerque, there's two directorates, space vehicles and directed energy, and we focus a lot on the space vehicles portion of it. So everything from space nuclear power to space to ground power beaming to space weather to power systems for space, comm systems. It just goes on and on and on and on because there's such an explosion right now of activity in the space arena. So, and the other trick is that a lot of what we do involves classified work. And probably 10 years ago, nobody really cared if you had a security clearance or even a secret security clearance. But in the past 5 years, all of that's changed. So now we have many buildings on base that we can't get into without top secret clearances.
Right.
And if you're doing classified work at UNM, it's with COSMIAC. We hold 95% of UNM's clearances, and we create a resource that no one else does. We create cleared new college graduate engineers and scientists, and no one else within 250 miles does that. So what we produce as a product is in extremely high demand now.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, this bridge between academia and these real-world industries like space, especially such rapidly evolving industries. How do you keep up with it?
Young people. It makes it a lot easier when your average age of your workforce is 28 and the majority of them are under that. And so you just go in and you say, I don't think this can be done. And then you go away. and you come back the next day and it's like 10 pizza boxes and 100 Mountain Dew cans, but it's done. And you say, wow, that's amazing. And they like it. The young people like it because it's a good paycheck. We don't do volunteer programs or summer programs or anything like that. We bring the young people in. The majority of our people are first-generation college students. So we bring them in around the freshman level and find a way to fund them and then keep them funded through graduate programs.
Wow.
And so it's an amazing capability, but because of the fact that we're losing so many people, that we've entered the Great Resignation. So I'm a baby boomer, which means I'm old, and 2/3 of the baby boomers have now completely retired.
Right.
And we've also entered the enrollment cliff. The freshman classes that are beginning this semester are the largest ones we'll have for the rest of my life. We don't have enough people. So in the old days when I went to school and we had stone tablets, but in those days, if we lost 20% of the people, 20% of the students, because they had family emergencies or medical issues or money problems, we just kind of accepted it and said, that's just the way it goes. They're not smart enough. It's their problem. We cannot accept that as the norm anymore. Not in a place like Albuquerque where the demand for that kind of resource is so strong. So
Right.
we continue to grow year after year.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you, and you talked a little bit about this exploding sector of space, right? How do you spur that kind of change, what COSMIAC is doing on a bigger level, on a state level, on a national level, so you're really filling the workforce gaps?
It's difficult because of the fact that a lot of people haven't realized yet we've entered that decline of people. And so what we struggle to do is to find those funders. And I don't know why, but I'm thankful that I'm fairly good at it. And so me and the cohort that contain management at COSMIAC, we work really hard to find a way to find funders for little Susie and little Jimmy. And it's a constant work. And so how does it affect the state? It's easy. If you can point to a 100-person, or better yet, a 200-person center that grows cleared new college talent with years of experience in the space industry, especially with everything that's going on, SpaceX, Rocket Labs, all these organizations. If you can do that, you can pull industry into the state instead of it going the opposite direction.
Right.
So.
And where are we sitting right now with industry? Are we pulling it in? Is it escaping New Mexico?
It is moving forward. I'm not going to say it's going in the right direction. I'm not going to say it's going the wrong direction. The tricky part in the last year has been the utter chaos that we've been experiencing nationally. And so people are scared. We've got programs called deferred resignation programs, or we call them DRIPs. And so the DRP people are leaving in droves. And a lot of these are brilliant young people that we brought in from other states. But then they say, well, look, I can wait around and I might get fired. So, because I'm a probationary employee too. So they're leaving. And so we're struggling. We've lost a lot of forward momentum in the last 6 months.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just reported on Sandia National Labs cutting up to 3% of the workforce by early fall, which is, that's a big chunk of people.
Yeah, it is. It is. And hopefully they're able to do it in a gentler way with something like the early retirements. So there's a lot of people at Sandia that are baby boomers. And so hopefully those people will be offered packages where they'll say, hey, yeah, I'd rather be camping. So it's springtime in New Mexico. I'd rather get out. And so
Sure.
hopefully the impact at Sandia will not be that terrible.
Right.
So.
Do you think that maybe space is semi-protected? I feel when I do politics reporting, space is like one of the things we all agree on. Let's get it happening in this field.
We have never seen more money than we have this year. It is crazy. And I'm seeing things, the record budget bill for the Golden Dome or the defense budget. And I'm approached by people almost daily that come in the door and they say, we've got a lot of money, we've got a lot of work, and we have no people. Can you get us 5 cleared engineers tomorrow? I recently had that. There's a company that just started up in Albuquerque called Black V, and beautiful small satellite imagery kind of company. He came into me about 18 months ago and he said, okay, I need 20 cleared engineers to start next month. And I had to tell him, I said, you're not going to find 20 cleared janitors to start that time. But I do have 10 undergraduate students and 5 real engineers. Right. And he looked at me and he said, that'll allow us to get started.
Right.
And so there's other good organizations too. Within that building where you came is an organization called New Space Nexus.
Right.
They are stellar for acceleration of new space businesses. So there's a lady that runs it named Casey Durod, who is really, really sharp. And she's been doing this kind of stuff for 4 decades. So she's really good. So I think that the money's there. The only thing that can be our crux or our bad side is our own selves by not finding a way to make it a priority for the state.
Right.
I mean, God knows there's competing priorities. There's always competing priorities. But if you look at what's doing well, that's what should be funded.
Yeah. And aerospace is one of the state's target industries.
Yes. Yeah. And so there's huge Rocket Labs facilities here. Sandia's got a large space. All of these groups have a large space fingerprint here because we've got Sandia National Labs here. We've got Los Alamos. We've got Air Force Research Lab. We've got Northrop, Boeing, all of these Rocket Labs. All of them are here. We just have to find a way to give them what they need.
Yeah.
And that's talent.
Right. And I want to, in addition to talking about talent, I want to hear more about the cool tech happening, because when I toured the facility, I looked at a lot of cool projects going on. I know you can't talk about all of them because some of them are classified, but what's some work that COSMIAC has done or is in the process of doing?
Space nuclear power. So the trick is we haven't really flown a reactor in space in 60 years. We've tried to survive with solar panels, which is great, unless you really want to do machine learning, artificial intelligence, high power microwaves. If you're going to do that, then you have to get to a point where you are flying a reactor. Golden Dome can't happen without a reactor in space. So we're working with Sandia National Labs now to help get things called Stirling engines that will allow us to go ahead and start to train the young people on how this works. Others are space-to-ground solar beaming, power beaming. So
I love this one.
Oh, it's called Spider. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. When I was in the Air Force and we went to remote locations, generally there was nothing there because it'd been all blown up. And so what we would do is have this never-ending string of diesel trucks driving in with fuel for the generators. We're going to start looking at operating on the moon or Mars or the Arctic. And what this is designed to do is deploy solar arrays in space where you can get the sun 24/7 and then beam it down to the ground.
Right.
So another one, radiation effects. So as we go deeper into space, radiation is more of an enemy. It just destroys things. And so we do a lot of studying and a lot of testing all over the nation at the various test facilities. We actually run some of the test facilities at Kirtland. So humanoids, this is going to be cool, because if we go to Mars or the moon, we're not going to send the bags of water out to change the solar panels. We want to be able to send something that can go out there and not be damaged. So we're looking into that area. That machine learning, artificial intelligence, networking, comm systems. We just bought our new Starlink system, and it's about the size of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and runs off a DeWalt battery.
Wow.
So you take it, and that's the entire thing, and you take it out to the field and you just set it on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're doing high-speed internet. So you name it, all of those, and it can just keep going on and on and on. Laser communications, RF communications. So the satellites that we deal with for the most part are what's called LEO, low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit's about 200 miles up. The satellites in low Earth orbit are moving 5 miles a second. It's booking. But what that means is it takes it 90 minutes to go around the Earth. So when it comes over me here at COSMIAC and I got my 10-foot satellite dish, what I have to do is I have to know when it's coming, point to it, and then from horizon to horizon, I get about 8 minutes. And so during that 8 minutes, I got to transmit up, receive down, and then it's gone, and I may not see it for another week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All in our backyard.
all in our backyard, all done right here in town, all done for people who want to pay us to do it.
Right. Yeah, it's so cool. It's something, I mean, I know I was super wowed by looking around. And I think ever since I picked up the Tech Beat, I've learned so much stuff that is happening in New Mexico that I think a lot of people don't know about.
And it is difficult because of the fact that a lot of it is hard to explain to people. I mean, I've got an engineer that works for me with his master's degree. He's a first-generation citizen. His folks are crop pickers. He can't explain to them what he does. They can't understand it. And so we've got a lot of people in this state that it would be a struggle for us to explain to them what we do and how we do it and the impact. And so it's a story that we tell every day and never stop.
Yeah, and I think at the same time that accessibility that the program provides to draw more people into the field, I mean, it's full circle.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because the people who graduate with clearances make about 30% more than the people who do not have clearances.
Yeah.
So these are high-paying jobs. These are six-figure income salaries for people who have a master's degree and 3 years of experience and a top-secret clearance. So the demand is huge. It's just a matter of continuously producing more of the product at the same time when we have less students.
Right. An easy challenge.
and the other tricky part, of course, is it's engineering. And so it's hard.
Sure.
And people say, well, you know, I'd rather be a business major, you know, and we try to say, you know, look, that's good. That's really good. Here's the salary you would make if you want to stick with this. And we can help you. We can help you get through the programs. Every one of us there loves math. It turns us on, and it's kind of a sad thing to say that. We actually have something we call Nerd Night. So we get together every Thursday night and build things. It's like a fellowship of people who are commonly mindset to just like to build stuff.
Yeah.
And so we spend a lot of time on those nights showing some of our undergraduates how to solve their math problem.
Right. Very cool.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what COSMIAC does in the future. And thanks so much for talking and chatting about all of these cool space happenings.
You're very welcome.